and then they're going to play the game that we're not patriotic.
Right. Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election. And we can't do that.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we are going to take a look at the latest breaking news. We have actual terror happening every single day. The fake news covers it up. The big tech fascists can try to censor it, and they've taken down yours truly's videos to try to censor the message, but we are going to keep telling the people what is happening. So we're going to cover that, plus a whole bunch of other breaking news stories, so stick around and check it out. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. You guys know the drill. If you guys haven't done it yet, please come here, click the big red subscribe button, and hit that bell and select all so you get notified as soon as all these videos get posted. Plus, don't forget to stick around at the end. We do a segment called God's Grace is Greater. Today, we're going to be looking out of the book of James to talk about what truthful speech looks like according to the word. So I hope you guys stick around to hear that. But we're going to get right into the latest here on the channel. We always go check the Q board. Nothing new. 4626 was the latest Q post, and we're still waiting for more of those. But we have a bunch of news to cover today. You know, today is the first day of the RNC, so there's going to be a lot of different coverage of that. I suggest all of you guys go watch it, even though the big networks aren't covering it remotely close to as much as they were covering the DNC convention, which was just a big Democrat lie fest where they just lied and they told their lies, and it's disgusting, right? And you know, you can. They broadcast that on major networks, and YouTube says it's great, and they put it in all the feeds as breaking news, and then Twitter amplifies their lies. But then they censor this channel when I speak truth. And if you guys didn't watch that episode, I would really encourage you to go back here, watch this video about YouTube deleting my video, which I did last Friday previously. So, look, the censorship is real. I'm still working on an appeal for that, to get that video reinstated, but the video is right here on BitChute if you want to go watch the video that YouTube doesn't want you to see. I'll leave a link to BitChute in the description below, my channel over there, if you guys want to go watch that. But look, the fact of the matter is that everything that's happening today is a part of a very well calculated, orchestrated effort to suppress your ability, our ability to share the truth, to talk and use our free speech rights. And they're coordinating this effort to help the Democrats get back into control so that they can continue to silence and suppress your voice, our voice, and they can turn you into a slave. Because that's what these people want. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you using your free speech. They don't want you to exercise any sort of autonomy or freedom, because then they can't control you to basically use you to make money for themselves, to enrich themselves further, to get more power. So that's what we're up against, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into the latest stories here, I just got a quick reminder. This video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. You guys should try this product out. It's an internet browser. It's free. And when you download it using the link in the description, you'll help support this channel. And what you'll get in return is a great internet browser, just like Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, whatever you're using, but it's better. It blocks the ads. It's got a built-in firewall, VPN, and Tor browser, and a bunch of other built-in features that are really, really good. So check it out. You can download it for free using the link in the description of this video today, and you can get it for your desktop, your laptop, or your smartphone. So check it out today using the link in the description. Download the Brave browser. I know you guys are really going to enjoy it. But first, let's get into this. So the story is, why did they censor my last video? That's where I want to start. Because as you saw at the beginning of the video, President Trump said it clearly, that he said, and I'm going to quote him here,
and then they're going to play the game that we're not patriotic.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election. And we can't do that.
There you heard it. I played it again because I'm going to keep playing this clip every time they try to censor me and shut this channel down, take down videos and stuff. Because, look, President Trump says it. They're using COVID to take away, to defraud the American people of a free and fair election. And, they censor you when you say that, but then the president of the United States says it, so I will see if they try to censor him, which they already have several times, but that's because they're weak, pathetic, and they're evil. So, you know, they're going to do that. Here's a write-up from Zero Hedge about a writer who talks about how they're using COVID to destroy everything and then blame Trump. I mean, it's what's happening. It's like a logical, objective observation. There's nothing, I'm not like impartial or biased in the sense that this is just an observation. Look, they're locking you in your house. They're forcing you to wear a mask. They're shutting down businesses. They're keeping kids out of schools. They're punishing you. They're punishing you using this COVID as an excuse. And I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but I'm not. I'm not sorry. You know what I am sorry about, though? I'm sorry to all of you, all of us out here who have to live in this nightmare every single day where you have these unaccountable big tech companies, you have these unaccountable fake news liars, and they all help each other, and they're all coordinating in their effort to undermine our free speech and to silence us in this Orwellian nightmare. It is disgusting, and these people should be ashamed of themselves. And the more they censor us, the more obvious it is their deception. And this isn't just happening here in the United States. This is happening all over the world, including places like China. But here's a great write-up by Joe Hoft at Gateway Pundit, and I want you guys to definitely go read this, where it talks about how Democrats and Communist China are using COVID-19 to manipulate and punish those they don't like. And when you read through this article, it becomes very clear, very fast, that they are using this virus as an excuse to punish us, to hurt us. And they're doing it in a very calculated way that could only be, described best by comparing it to some sort of plot out of a Hollywood movie, right? Where there's like literally a room full of evil people in YouTube, Google, in Twitter. I mean, these people worship Satan. They're the evilest people you could ever imagine. They literally think of you, as Q has said before, as sheep, right? So they're punishing you. They're punishing us because we're daring to question their fake news lies. We're daring to question their authority over us. And we're daring to call them out for being the complete satanic evil scum that they are, right? And so, you know, if they don't like when you say that, it's just, first of all, it's an opinion which is protected by free speech and the First Amendment, and also, you know, it's protected because it's religious speech. I'm telling you, this is what we're up against. The devil is real, and it is very prevalent in this battle which we are fighting right now, right? The battle for this nation. And they're going to silence us, and it's like they took down my video because they said, oh, somebody flagged your video. Well, I wonder who flagged my video. It probably was some SJW loser who came here just to hate watch my videos so they could find me saying one little thing that they could, oh, look what he said, when the reality is, do you think I care? I don't care. I know I'm right. I know that I'm 100% correct on this, and that they are 100% incorrect, and that what they're doing is not only unconstitutional, but it's an affront to all of us and our collective objective logic and reasoning. Because I'm just putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm not getting 5, I'm actually getting 4. You know what I mean? So there you go. Just thought I'd get that out because it's disgusting and it's ridiculous, and these people, they're going to keep censoring us. So what else are we going to do, right? You can't even speak the truth anymore. You have to filter yourself and censor yourself so that the thought police at Google and YouTube and Twitter don't just, arbitrarily rip away your digital ability to speak and throw you into the digital gulags that they've created, where you'll never be able to have a bank account, you'll never be able to have a social media account, you'll never be able to communicate with more than like a handful of people, and you have to do it like secretly through some back channels. It's insane. It's insane. Okay, so I'll leave links to those if you want to read them. But this reminds me of like how underhanded these tactics are that they do, that they use, and how fake the news is. It's this story right here. It exemplifies it perfectly. This is apparently something called Ibizagate, which talks about how a Soros journalist brought down the Austrian government. And this is the kind of stuff they have planned for us here, and they're going to keep doing. And this is the kind of stuff they tried to pull with Russiagate, Ukrainegate, all the fake news lies, and they're amplifying the lies through the fake big tech Orwellian fascists. And it says here, a year ago, a leaked video seeming to show the head of a right-wing party, right-wing Austrian Freedom Party, Heinz Christian Strache, conspiring with Russians to take over top local tabloid, brought down the center-right government. In the court case, video has emerged exonerating Strache and his colleague Johann Gudenis. Apparently, the Soros-related journalists who broke the story deliberately omitted exonerating parts. Well, what's the difference between this and them just, arbitrarily ripping down one of my videos that's exposing their corruption, their criminality? And not only that, it's exposing their complicity in allowing this COVID-19 to be used against the American people. It's not my words. Here, listen to the president. I'm going to play it again.
And then they're going to play the game that we're not patriotic.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election. And we can't do that.
So the answer is there is no difference. You hear President Trump say it, and then you look at this and you see the kind of dirty, underhanded tactics that they use to set up their enemies, and they lie, they maliciously lie, then they use their power over these corporations to spread the lie, then they use it to hurt the people involved that they are targeting. So, look, I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted. And I'm also disgusted by this. A man was shot by police in Kennesaw, which is in Wisconsin, who was wanted for sexual assault. Now, I'm not going to play the video because at this point, the video speaks for itself. You can go find that wherever it is. But look, there's a guy who's being arrested by cops. The cops go to put him in cuffs. He runs away. He puts his hand, he opens the door to his car while the cops are trying to pull him back, and he literally reaches into his car. Now, police are trained to assume that if you run away from a cop who's trying to arrest you and you dive into your car and start reaching for it, you could be reaching for a deadly weapon like a gun or a knife, so they're trained to shoot you. That is so don't run away from cops when they try to arrest you, right? That's the moral of the story. Or you could also get in the car and use the car as a lethal weapon. So it's not, even if there was no gun in the car, he could have jumped in the car and used that as a lethal weapon against the cops. So look, the fact of the matter is, when you see this and when you see what they do, they went and they burned down the city practically. They violently assaulted cops. They burned down fire trucks. They burned down an entire car dealership. This is Andy Ngo with this actual footage. They went to a car dealership and lit cars on fire. What does this have to do with anything? It's just random acts of violence, and it's the textbook definition of domestic terrorism. Right here. In the Cornell Law School, the legal definition of domestic terrorism means activities that involve acts dangerous to human life. I'd say burning down police vehicles, throwing bricks at cops, burning car dealerships are dangerous to human life, that are a violation of criminal laws of the United States, that appear to be intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. That's exactly what they're doing. Or to influence the policy of government by intimidation or coercion. Again, exactly what the whole Black Lives Matter Antifa thing, that's what they're doing. They're textbook domestic terrorists. Yet I'm getting called, the most laughable thing is, you know how Democrats are the masters of projection. Now on Twitter, I'm hearing it a lot. Now they're calling me a domestic terrorist, and they keep citing that phony report from the FBI. And then you watch all the fake news where they talk about QAnon, and they don't even know what they're talking about. They're just complete morons. And they're saying, yeah, but QAnon's associated with domestic terrorists. When have we done any of this stuff? Never. That's when. But when has Black Lives Matter done it? When has Antifa done it? Every day, every single day, they're involved in domestic terrorism. Yet they're calling us domestic terrorists for what? Freely thinking for ourselves, exercising our free speech rights and talking? Look, it's not a dangerous act to talk unless you're doing what has been, categorically found by the Supreme Court to be dangerous, as in, yelling fire in a movie theater, etc. That's not the case here, right? Obviously, these people don't understand what the definition of domestic terrorist is, so I'm just educating the masses here. This is all educational. Here, look it up for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description below. But you can see that this is what they're doing, and this is how they operate. You know, if a man, you know, rightfully or not, it seemed pretty fair to me. If you have a guy reaching into his car, resisting arrest, he could turn around with a gun. And the worst part is that had that guy who reached in the gun, who reached in the car and got shot, had he turned around and pulled a gun and shot those officers, I guarantee you wouldn't have heard a peep on the news, and they wouldn't have been burning down cities. I'm sure you would have seen a lot of the people reacting positively to that kind of thing, because this is the most disgusting, depraved time that I've ever seen our country in, where you have people glorifying violence, people glorifying hate, people glorifying racism, and they just act like it's totally normal. Like, apparently you can't be racist against white people, so I've just seen rampant racism against white people, and they just pretend like, oh, it's fine, it's okay. It's okay to be racist against white people. It's not okay to be racist against anyone. I don't judge people based on the color of their skin. I judge people based on the content of their character. And it is just so disgusting. But on a more positive note here, President Trump has released his second term agenda, and I thought we'd go through it because, you know what? This is something you're never going to hear on the fake news. President Trump wants to create 10 million jobs in 10 months. Well, that's pretty great. Create 1 million new small businesses. I like that. Cut taxes to boost take-home pay and keep jobs in America. That sounds great. Enact fair trade deals that protect American jobs. Yes. Made in America tax credits. Great. Expand opportunity zones. I'm all for it. Continue deregulatory agenda for energy independence. I'm all for that as well. Eradicate COVID-19. Okay. Develop vaccine. If you want a vaccine, go take a vaccine. I'm not, I don't have to do it if I don't want to, but if you want it, go have it. If it makes you feel better, if you need that security blanket, then go by all means. Return to normal in 2021. Now that's a funny one. The Democrats have basically, and the rhino spineless Republicans like Kevin McCarthy and others have helped destroy this country, and they've done it systematically because they hate President Trump, and they pretty much despise us, our free speech. So hopefully we will return to normal in 2021. I'm assuming it's going to be the day will be about November 4th, as long as they don't try to do as President Trump said, right? Use COVID-19 in the election against us, right? For this mail-in voting. Here, I'll let President Trump tell you again.
Supposing they don't mail them to Republican neighborhoods. That means they're not going to get them. So they're going to complain, and the election's going to be over, and then they're going to complain, and then they'll say, oh, well, we didn't get it. Big deal. In the meantime, you might lose the election. This is the greatest scam in the history of politics, I think, and I'm talking about beyond our nation. And they act like they're aggrieved. Like by saying this, we're saying such a horrible thing. We're not patriotic by saying this. No, we voted during World War I. We voted at the voting booth during World War II. The pandemic, we're doing very well, and people know how to handle it. Look at the crowds. They're doing very well. It's very safe. It's going to be very safe. If you have an absentee ballot where you request it, we're all in favor of that. Absentee, like in Florida, they have absentee is good. But other than that, they're very, very bad. There'll be millions of ballots. Take a look at New York. Take a look at Virginia. Take a look at New Jersey. All different cases. They just had one last night. Now they're thinking about recalling certain elections that took place with mail-in. And these are small little elections that are locally based, that are easy to run. Not millions, but thousands of ballots. Thousands. Hundreds of ballots. But these are small, and they can't control it. They said 23% of the ballots were defective. What does defective mean? It means fraud. It means a lot of things that we won't get into, because I don't want to be accused. You see all the cameras back there? It's the fake news. I don't want to be accused of anything. But what it means is they're trying to steal the election from the Republicans. That's what it means. In a very, very nice way, I will tell you, they are trying to steal the election, just like they did it last time with spying, and we caught them, and that included President Obama, and that included let's be nice, Biden. This could only happen in North Carolina. But that included them, and they got caught. And then somebody said, well, what are you going to do? Well, we can't attack a president. Oh, I see. If it was me. They say, we can't attack a president. We caught him. We caught him cold. And they say, we can't attack. He was at meetings talking about it. And by the way, this was spying before and after. And I think it's a disgrace to our country. I think we can never let that happen again. But now they're doing something that in a certain way is more dangerous because it's more effective. They spied on my campaign. You know what they found? Nothing. But this is big stuff. This is stealing millions of votes, and it's going to be very hard. Now, we're in courts all over the country, and hopefully we have judges that are going to give it a fair call, because if they give it a fair call, we're going to win this election. The only way they can take this election away from us is if this is a rigged election. We're going to win this election.
That's right.
We're going to win this election. And then they're going to play the game that we're not patriotic.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID
Yeah.
to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election. And we can't do that.
Yep. President Trump said it best, but it says make all critical medicines and supplies for healthcare workers in the United States. What's wrong with that? How can the Democrats argue against this is what I don't understand. Because they're globalists. They're bought and paid for by the globalists. Refill stockpiles and prepare for future pandemics. Yep, all for it. End reliance on China. I am all for that. Bring back 1 million manufacturing jobs from China. Tax credits for companies that bring back jobs from China. Allow 100% expensing deductions for essential industries like pharmaceuticals and robotics who bring their manufacturing back to the United States. No federal contracts for companies who outsource to China. Hold China fully accountable for allowing the virus to spread around the world. Yes, 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 and yes. Cut prescription drug prices. Of course, everybody wants that. Put patients and doctors back in charge of our healthcare system. Yes. Lower healthcare insurance premiums. I'm all for that. And surprise billing. Yes. Trust me, I went to the hospital recently for some health issues and I got a bill for about $11,000. So, you know, this is how these scumbags work. But you know what? I'll be all right. I'm okay. I'll do my best. God will provide. But cover all pre-existing conditions, protect Social Security and Medicare, protect our veterans, and provide world-class healthcare and services. And of course, I'm all for all of those things, right? Provide school choice to every child in America. Yes. Teach American exceptionalism. Please, for the love of you-know-what, please. For the love of, everything that's good, please do that, right? Drain the swamp. Yes. Pass congressional term limits. Please. End bureaucratic government bullying of U.S. citizens and small businesses. Yes. Expose Washington's money trail and delegate powers back to the people and states. Yes. As long as those states aren't run by people like Gavin Newsom, but we'll deal with that later, right? Drain the globalist swamp by taking on international organizations that hurt American citizens. Yes. Defend our police. Fully fund and hire more police and law enforcement officers. Yes. Increase criminal penalties for assaults on law enforcement officers. Yes. Prosecute drive-by shootings as acts of domestic terrorism. Please. That's the definition of domestic terrorism. Bring violent extremist groups like Antifa to justice. Yes. End cashless bail and keep dangerous criminals locked up until trial. Please. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with all these things, and I'm sure you guys are too. End illegal immigration and protect American workers. Block illegal immigrants from becoming eligible for taxpayer-funded welfare, healthcare, and free college tuition. Yes. Mandatory deportation for non-citizen gang members. Please. Dismantle human trafficking networks. That's what we've been talking about and working on here with Q and the movement for quite some time. End sanctuary cities to restore our neighborhoods and protect our families. Yes. Prohibit American companies from replacing United States citizens with lower-cost foreign workers. Of course. Common sense stuff. Require new immigrants to be able to support themselves financially. Well, why would you want people coming into your country, flooding it, who are dependent on the welfare system? That doesn't make sense. Innovate for the future. Launch Space Force. Yup. Establish permanent manned presence on the moon and send the first manned mission to Mars. That'd be cool. Build the world's greatest infrastructure system. Yup. Win the race to 5G and establish a national high-speed wireless internet network. Everybody's 50-50 on 5G. I'm just going to say this. It's probably going to be good for us to be able to compete with countries like China, which are working on this right now. Continue to lead the world in access to the cleanest drinking water and cleanest air. Yep. Partner with other nations to clean up our planet's oceans. Why not? I think that's great. America first, foreign policy, stop endless wars and bring our troops home. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Yes. And I say that with the most respect to God and to Jesus. But yes, please do that. Get allies to pay their fair share. Yep. Maintain and expand America's unraveled military strength. Yep. Wipe out global terrorists who threaten to harm Americans, of course. And build a great cybersecurity defense system and missile defense system. Yep. I can't find one thing in here I disagree with. Maybe you can, but I can't. So, and you're not going to hear that. You're never going to hear anyone on the fake news go through those point by point. So, you're welcome. Next, I want to talk about James Comey. Says he can't imagine he's a target of an internal DOJ probe. And of course, the fake news liars at CBS are just, oh, well, James Comey, he couldn't be, because it's not like he launched a coup at the FBI against President Trump and then helped get Hillary Clinton off before the election. No, it's not like he's a complete treasonous traitor. The fake news is going to tell you he's such a great guy, whatever. It's just disgusting how much these people lie. Here's another story. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un may be in a coma, and his sister is going to take control. Well, I don't know about this story, but I'll tell you what, if that is the case, then that might, who knows, that might lead to peace. We'll see, right? Cal Exodus, and I can attest to this, Hollywood and California is just not doing well right now. The state's on fire. Homeless people are everywhere. The Black Lives Matter protests are just, violent and awful. Yeah, and it's pretty bad. The big tech fascists have destroyed the state with their Democrat sycophants. And of course, people are trying to escape. The looters and the drug addicts and the homeless, why wouldn't they? Right? As Jeb Bush, he goes against QAnon with his little tweet that nobody cares about because we know his crime family that he comes from. Why in the world would President not kick QAnon supporters' butts? Nut jobs, racists, haters have no place in either party. Not a nut job, not a racist. And you know what? As a Christian, I don't hate. I do my best to love everyone and to leave room for God's grace, because that is, God can do anything, even with a person like Jeb Bush, a weak, ineffective loser like him. So, yeah, there you go, Jeb. Thanks for the update. Texas County yields after legal challenge will allow Christian school to hold in-person classes. Yeah, exactly. And you know why they don't want you to have, the Democrats don't want you to have in-person classes? Because of this. Tennessee mom says parents asked to sign a ridiculous waiver that they will not eavesdrop on kids' online lessons. Yeah, because heaven forbid you overheard their Marxist communist teacher teaching them about Black Lives Matter and Antifa and how President Trump is a Russian agent. I mean, heaven forbid you overheard that maybe from the Marxist communists that run these schools. It's psychotic. These people live in a fantasy world. Here's a list of 18 corporations. I'm not going to go through each one right now that give money to the radical Black Lives Matter group. I'll leave that in the link below. And here are the Tillis gym owners, right, who have come out now and they've made their gym a Republican political headquarters. So now it's open for business. And I just thought this was funny. Also, Sarah Carter pointing out that President Trump is up 10 points among independents. Well, of course he is. Maybe the polls are starting to finally become halfway decent and real. But yeah, I thought I'd leave us on that note, a good positive note. And that's where we're going to go ahead and leave it. A few more things before we go. Watch these last few videos, share them on your social media, and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything that we talked about here today. I'm also over on Twitter. You can find me at JustinFormedYou and on Twitter at informed_news. Plus, you can find me over on Parlor at JustinFormedTalk and BitChute's the backup channel, of course, like I said, where you can go watch the video that YouTube doesn't want you to see. Use the link in the description of this video to find the BitChute channel where I post the videos as a backup. You can go check that out. And JustinFormedNews.com is the official website for Just Informed Talk, so go check that out. And if you want to make a financial contribution, you can come find me over here on Patreon. It's patreon.com/JustinFormedTalk. It's a monthly donation. Your support keeps this channel running. Plus, I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to everything will be in the description below. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And like I said at the beginning, I want to talk about truthful speech as it's written here in the book of James, given to us, the word of God here, saying, now above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear, and this is before I read it, we're going to talk about it after too, but it's chapter 5, verse 12, okay, in the book of James. It says, now above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath. Your yes must be yes, and your no must be no, so that you won't fall under judgment. Simple, right? Very simple verse. I just thought I'd focus on that because this is what they are attacking, right? Because when the fake news liars and these big tech fascists and all these people out there that are trying to suppress us and put us down for exercising our religion and our religious freedom and our political freedom, when they try to put us down, their yes doesn't mean yes, their no doesn't mean no. They don't speak truthfully. And remember that as much as it is easy for us to condemn it, which, look, I'm not perfect, so obviously I'm going to be upset at this, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. Remember, they will fall under judgment, and that'll be God's judgment. And it may not come in the timeline that we expect it to or that we think it should, but trust in the Lord and know that God has a plan for all of us, and that we need to just put our faith in Him. And as long as we do that and we trust in Him above all else, no matter what they do to us here in this world, it won't matter, because when we go to heaven, which we all know we will eventually one day, right? When we go to heaven, we'll be able to go to God and say our yes meant yes and our no meant no, and we stood for what was right, and we stood for you, and we stood for our Lord Jesus Christ, and we stood for the Holy Spirit, and we stood for all those who couldn't stand for themselves, because we know we were doing the right thing, and we did it no matter what the cost. And that's my message to all of you. Take that as a message of faith and hope in Jesus, and you can do it. You can do it. Just remember, truthful speech. Have your yes mean yes and your no mean no, and do the right thing when no one's looking. Live righteously, be kind, and that's my message. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Thanks for watching. A few more things. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button also. If you guys like this content and want to see me make more, that's it though. For me, thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.